to Salmon's Pizzeria, where once again it's time for the Championship Penitentiary. This time around, I have two guests joining me, hopefully for the full time this time around, unlike last week. First off, we have, for the first time this season, Aiden. How are you, Aiden? And he's muted his mic. What a start.
Oh no, I've muted myself. I'm standing there replying as well. Yeah. I'm good, but the less said about the weekend, the better. So, how are you, Kieran?
Hi, I'm doing all right. Good to be back on. Aye, talking about Thistle doing well. I mean, don't want to spoil too much. But I talk about the weekend's action as well. We use obviously the other games that happened at the weekend and the midweek game away to Queens Park for us too. Looking forward to it. Jam-packed schedule this week, so aye, looking forward to it.
How are you doing, Callum? International
It's
players
very
in your
much a
team?
jam-packed schedule. But before we get into the games, we have cooperation agreements. They've come into play once again. The first one that was announced this week was Airdrie and Dundee United getting one. Um, I don't know if that will help improve the Airdrie squad, but the one that is probably most relevant to the three of us, Partick Thistle have got one with Linlithgow. Kieran, what are
So
your thoughts?
I hope that gives us a friendly away to Linlithgow. I see you jammy Rafe bastards get them away every fucking pre-season. You know what I mean? Sometimes even get them in the cup too. Years lot. So hopefully that means we get a wee trip down there. Looks at an incredible, not an incredible away trip, but something to tick off nonetheless. You've got your wee pub crawl with that as well. So aye. And I think we sent was it Matty Faulkner? I don't know the other player, but we sent two young players on loan there, so hopefully they develop over there and see what happens with that. But aye, at least it's no, with a B team or anything like that, or one of the old firm. I'm glad it's no like that. Hopefully they go on and kick on and at Linlithgow.
Yeah, no, I'd hate to be affiliated with one of the old firm. It does not sound like a good idea considering the connotations around it all. You might get called a B team for one of them. Anyway, weirdly enough, I don't think anyone has gone from Dundee United to Airdrie yet. I've not
Blame them.
noticed anything. It's like I think today Airdrie got a player from Ayr. But yeah, I don't think anyone's gone from Dundee United to Airdrie yet. So we'll keep an eye on how
You
that
blame
goes.
anybody for not going to Airdrie.
No one wants to go. But yeah, we kick off the weekend's action, and it's all Saturday games for once. But yeah, this weekend's action, I think we might start off with Greenock Morton against Ross County. Aiden, you've been waiting to talk about this one, haven't you?
It's not even about football anymore.
It's not even, no, it's never about football on this podcast half the
It's about
time.
absolute moronic idiots. In the nicest way possible. The man is in the wrong job.
Anyway,
How
so
can you not see a 6'3" guy with bright blonde hair and a red t-shirt heading the ball towards a 19-year-old boy in a blue t-shirt? The referee points to the halfway line, goal given, and that idiot is standing there. Look at me, waving his hands about in the air. It's the third time this year we've had an apology. Thistle, we get done over there with the penalty that they got because whoever the boy was up front has absolutely no strength to him whatsoever, and he just fell over. We got a penalty for that. He was useless. The player was useless as well. The game against Wraith Rovers where Poppadom wrists fell into his own goal. And then we had the idiot on Saturday that just wants to wave flags for the sake of it. The referees are a shambles. We were supposed to have a referee on here, and I tell you, I'm glad we never ever spoke to him because he's just as bad as the rest of them. The league's becoming a laughing stock because of the officials. And it's not just us, it happens to everybody in the league's getting dodgy decisions against them every single week. I can only comment on ours because I see it firsthand, but you go onto Twitter on a Saturday and you've seen people posting at 3:30, 4 o'clock during the game saying the referee's done something. And don't know what it is. We've not got VAR, and I know a lot of them are relying on somebody going into their ear and saying, "Oh, you get that wrong, go have a look at it." So I don't know if they're kind of hoping they'll get that wee comfort blanket and then realising shit we don't. But it's just a mess, an absolute mess. In terms of football, though, it was two teams that have got no style of play. We're more interested in how many successful passes we can make than going forward. We'll pass the ball forward to Brophy and then we'll pass it all the way back to Chris Moore in defence again. We just want to keep the game of passy. Ross County, they're just centre half, punt up to Ronan Hale, he loses it and we start again. And that was all it was. Penalty, stonewall penalty for Ross County, deserved it. Shannon McPherson just dives in at the wrong time. It happens. Good penalty from Hale. Then it was all Morton again. Referee decided he was going to step in and tell Morton that it was going to stay 1-0 for a while. And then Cammy Blues comes on, gets his goal. A couple of chances for both sides thereafter. But see, to be honest, it was a dull game of football, and if it wasn't for the referee, it would probably be the last game we'd speak about him here.
I was going to say, it's like both teams, like before this game, neither side had won yet, and they still haven't, evidently, as it finished in a 1-0 draw, or it should have been a Morton win. Because it's like when you message into the group chat saying Morton had a perfectly good goal disallowed, I was thinking to myself, oh god, it's going to be like the Wraith one again. Where I said it was a case of it was rightfully disallowed, but for the wrong reason. It wasn't a case of a foul. It was a case of offside or like blocking the goalkeeper, that sort of thing. And it's like when you said, "Oh yeah," it's like it's come off a Ross County boy and it's gone straight to whoever it was who hit it in the back of the net. And I was just like, "Oh, but if it's like a deflection or something, then it still counts as offside." And then I'd seen it, and you're just thinking, "How?" Genuinely, how? It might genuinely be the worst refereeing decision we've had to cover on this podcast, and that takes some doing because there's quite a long catalogue.
See, I enjoy the VAR review that Gordon Duncan does with Willie Collum. I think Collum speaks well when he's trying to speak about decisions, but I don't know how you can even justify that. Like, usually you can say, I can see how the referee's given that or whatever, but I don't. They never even ran over to speak to one another. It was just, it's easily no flagging, free kick, play on.
It's like we were saying just before we started recording about how it's, as you said, it's like he's pointed to the halfway line to get the goal, but he's seen the linesman put his flag up. But in that sort of situation, surely the referee could just be like, no, it was not offside. I saw what happened, because it's like the linesman's at like the upper end of the pitch, the other side of the pitch from where the Ross County players headed it from. And it's like the referee's going to be in the middle and he's going to see it was a Ross County player who basically played a back pass and went straight to a Morton player. And it's like you'd think that would overrule it, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't.
Do you know what the thing is? He said that Eamon Brophy's headed it back across. You've probably seen the pictures online. Brophy's on the way to the ground and he's got his back to where the ball even is. He's not even facing the right direction.
Yeah,
so
it's like
how have you come to that conclusion?
It's like there's a picture that I think you've definitely shared it a few times, but it's like there's a picture of like behind the goal from showing like the ball's headed, and it's like Eamon Brophy, as you said, he's falling down. His head is about waist height.
Yeah.
And the County boy's jumped off. It's like, how do you get that confused?
I mean, that Ross County defender's pulling Brophy to the floor. He's got his back to everything, and the referee still thinks he's managed to flick that on to Kieran Robertson. I don't get how they've come to that decision.
I know, it's just baffling. But
what have we done to upset the SFA this year?
I think it's karma from like the previous years where I've complained about Big Bad Morton.
5 points we've lost from decisions this season. How can you lose out in 5 points from refereeing errors this early in?
It's like we're not even through the first quarter of the season.
We've only lost one game as well, and we've still dropped 5 points from decisions.
I know, it's just mad. It's just mad how unlucky Morton have been with referees this season. But as we have mentioned Again, Morton is still winless coming into the final game of the quarter. Next game is against Airdrie, who I have said previously are probably the worst team in the league. It's like they're very deservedly to be bottom. But is there questions being asked about Imri?
I've heard people in the stands question it because this is the most money he's had to spend this year. We've got a squad of 24 players, a lot of experienced Premiership players in the team as well, and as you say, we're winless. But I think as well you need to look at the whole decisions side of things. That's 2 or 3 wins we probably could have had on the board on another day if decisions go your way. For me, nah, he's still worthy of a new contract. I think we'll beat Every at the weekend as well. I spoke to you on Friday night about Every. You said that they were stinking. I seen us on Saturday, and there was enough there to say that we can go and take a few goals off of people, and it's coming as well. Tommy Adderley looked really sharp when he came on. Brofiel's looking like he's back to his old self, where he just wanted to run about for a while and then come off. But Adderley looks like he's ready to kick on this season. So start him on Saturday, and I can see us getting a few goals against a struggling Every.
Yeah, is it? Well, we'll move on to Edry now, actually, because they were away to Ayr United. Ayr, they got their first win of the season, finally, after an away win against Dunfermline. Edry, meanwhile, again, bottom, winless. And this did not start well for them. It really did not start well for them, did it? Ethan Walker with a well worked goal would score to give Ayr the lead 3 minutes in. Mark McKenzie with a diving header 3 minutes later would make it 2-0. McKenzie again from a tight angle would make it 3-0 just after 20 minutes. Within 10 minutes, though, Edry would get a goal back, but just through, who was it? Lewis McGrattan. And then Jamie Murphy made it 4 just before half time. Charlie Telfer, though, once again, scoring a very nice free kick. He's got himself, I'm trying to think, he did it against Ross County. I feel like he scored a free kick against someone else this season. But yeah, that made it 4-2, but that's just how it finished. Ayr actually look competent now, seeing as they got back-to-back wins. They're actually above Dunfermline. I believe they're up to fifth with that win. Yes, they're up to fifth with that win. Would you say that they are very much back in the playoff hunt, Kieran?
Aye, I mean, that's 2 wins now for them. You've got to say, day 2 wins, naturally, it could be the turning point for Ayr. I thought, honestly, it could have been 7 or 8, maybe even more, on Saturday, for Ayr, and it was just complete domination, I thought. And I think Ayr will be equally frustrated not to keep the clean sheets. I thought it was 2 well taken goals for Airdrie, right enough, especially the free kick, as you mentioned, from Telfer. And by as much as Ayr, you know, they might they might have started to turn their season round. I think alarm bells are certainly starting to ring for Airdrie on the flip side of it. I don't think they look good at all, mind you. I thought they did look good against us at Firhill, but other than that, I think they look truly poor. And Ayr could have had them long out of sight if they hadn't already. It could have been so much more for Ayr, but I know they're looking to. I mean, Scott Brown certainly was under a bit of pressure, but I think we spoke about it a few times on here. And there were certainly murmurings among the Ayr United support, but a few of them kind of were starting to question it, question his tenure, whether or not he was worth it to stay or not. Now that's 2 wins for them, and as you say, they move into fifth. And I think if Ayr start kicking on, they're certainly in the playoff picture. But it's consistency, for them. Um, it's not been a good start for them, but if they keep it up, then they're certainly right in amongst it. But I think there also are a few other teams certainly in the playoff picture as well.
As like with Edry, with them, it's weird. It's like I feel it's like they've regressed from last season because like last season we were very often talking about how it's like with Edry, it was always just a case of it was just comical errors last
Aye.
season that was costing them. Like we were looking at like the highlights and whatnot, and we are just like, this is like fairly even. Edry have been like unlucky to not come away with anything. See this season, they're just shit.
Aye.
They're just
You'd say that as
shit.
well, and as well as that, I think they were quite hindered with injuries at the start of last season too. That kind of certainly had an impact on them having the bad start that they had last season. But this season they don't look good at all. Apart from it, again, as I said, I thought they got their game plan spot on against us at Firhill until obviously we turned it around in the later stages of that game. But other than that. I think they're frustrated as that night more than anything else, really. More than them being good at football, to be honest. I don't think we got going until we equalised late on that night. But I certainly fair other games that I've seen Fairdrie, and obviously that game on Saturday as well. I didn't look good for them at all, and I think alarm bells are certainly starting to ring for Airdrie, but aye.
So last week I was, as you were saying, it's like you felt they got the game plan correct against Thistle, and it's like they definitely frustrated you. The game between us two very much was a case. It's like Edry did like nothing. It's like the only time there was any sort of threat was when they hit the bar in like the last minute,
Mhm.
and it's like aside from that they did nothing. It was pretty much. Granted, we didn't do much in that first half, but second half we were very much all over them. Like
Yeah.
we were basically captain their half.
Mhm.
It's like we just lacked that sort of cutting edge in that game. But yeah, Edry very much looking in trouble. It's
Definitely, and they've got as well as that. I think that's a case of them missing the strike. Was it Wilson they got rid of last this season? The guy from Northern Ireland.
oh aye
Aye,
him. I
no,
think he was a top goal scorer as
aye.
well.
No, they've got no. They don't have. I thought they had Nikolai Todorov. They don't. But I not looking good. Do you know what I mean? And when you lose a player like that, you need to replace him, especially if you're down that bottom end of the league. And
And
I
they very much haven't.
they've not replaced him at all.
No, it's like, I think they are the lowest goal scorers in the league. No, Morton are the lowest goal scorers in the league, but Edry do
Hey,
only have 7 goals. Perfect time for you to return, Aiden. But yeah, no, it's like Edry is still just no, they're going down this season. I think this is it for them. They were very lucky to not go down last season, thanks to Atkins being a basket case. But this is it. This is it for them, surely.
Don't get me wrong as well. Sorry, Callum. At the end of last season as well, I thought Airdrie did get their act together, so to speak. Obviously, they did, as you said, get a stroke of luck with Aki's being just an absolute shithouse circle. But um, with a points deduction, but I thought Airdrie as well. They gave them they were they caught momentum certainly, and um, for what it was worth, I thought they as I said, they got their act together and picked up wins, and did give them a fighting chance. So I think we've got to give them credit for that. But I don't see that at the moment for Airdrie. They've not won this season as of yet, and rooted to the bottom. I think they've only got 3 points. Is that right?
Yeah,
So 3 draws. Not looking good.
who's the striker this season?
could not tell you.
Yeah, that's
I've
what
no
they
idea.
don't
Because they
have
get
a
rid
big
of
striker.
that's what me and Callum were saying. They get rid of was it Ben Wilson last
Yeah.
season, so they've not replaced him.
So I could probably have a look and see who they had starting. Where was it? Aye, against lineups. Ewan Henderson? Ewan Henderson was starting up front for them.
Is he a striker though?
That's the thing, though. It's not really. It's not one that I associate with being a striker.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what to make of Danny Lennon getting the job either, to be honest with you. Is he really a guy that's going to keep you in the championship?
it's like, yeah, it's like that squad just screams League One.
It screams desperation.
Definitely. Especially getting, well, losing a coach like Reece McCabe, you know what I mean? And replacing him with Danny Lennon, it's worrying signs.
I mean, nothing against Danny Lennon. He is a good
Aye.
manager. He's won cups at St Mirren, but
Aye,
a long time ago.
definitely.
It's, speaking of Danny Lennon, we move on to a club that he won the League Cup with, where Reef Rovers were at home to Arbroath. Now, Reef last week, we drew 0-0 with, as mentioned, Airdrie. Arbroath, meanwhile, coming off a 1-0 draw with Morton. But this one, first half, it wasn't really much difference between the two teams. I'd say Reef had like a slight edge, but it's like we weren't doing much. It's like Arbroath arguably came closest in the first
Hmm.
half of hitting the bar, but aside from that bar hit, it's like Arbroath's chances were just speculative shots from outside the box for what I remember. But second half was a big improvement. Let's just put it that way. Started off, it's like 2 minutes into the second half. Paul Hanlon from a corner heads it home. Actually, did he hit it home? No, it's so no, no, he didn't head it home. Actually, he just like sort of poked it home, I believe. Uh, um, However, it's like the probably the best moment of the game came 20 minutes later, where just after the hour mark, some nice football's played in the midfield. It comes to Easton. He turns. He's created a whole lot of space, and he slips through the Hiramal Malaya, Richard Chen, who dinks it past the goalkeeper to make it 2-0. And let me tell you, that was the biggest cheer at the Rovers since probably the Dunfermline game. I don't. I think everyone was just so happy for him, and evidently, I've gone and bought myself a Malaysia flag that is now in the background for this video. So if we suddenly see like a spike of Malaysian fans in the comment section or whatever, just like in the listening statistics or whatever, then hello. And of course, it would finish off with Jack Hamilton. A ball comes across the goal from Kai Montague. Jack Hamilton's there to make it, just poke it home 3-0. Yeah, it's like with this one, it was all Rafe, pretty much. It was as I mentioned, it's like Arbroath had that shot that hit the bar, and actually there was one or two time. Trying to think, there was one time where the ball flashed across goal, and then there was another time where there was a mix up between. I think it was either Hannon or Fordyce and Josh Ray who just decided to come out of his box, and there was a bit of an iffy moment there. But like aside from that, Arbroath didn't really do much. But it's as I've been saying, it's like Arbroath like an arbiter for this division, and if that's anything to go by, then we're getting playoffs, which I'm more than happy with. You know, I mean, I think after the all the results, I believe we're sat. Yeah, it's like we would have been sat second still after that game. Which, considering Arbroath were tied second with us, they were just behind on goal difference because of getting tanked 5-0 by Dunfermline somehow. So yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's much to worry about with Arbroath. Aiden, you're seen Arbroath play, haven't you?
So that again.
Yeah, it's like what have your thoughts been on Arbroath this season?
We played them. When was it last week? Before we played Arbroath, they'd one or two shots against us. They're, there's no disrespect for Arbroath here, but I don't think they're as good as their start made them out to be. I think they got a lucky start to the season. They'll be safe, I think, due to clubs around them, like us not picking up 3 points very often Airdrie being Airdrie. So I think our growth will be safe, but again, I think they're just bang average. They've got a bang average squad as well, though.
Yeah, it's very much a case of you've got an average squad, but just well organised.
Yeah, it's
And
one of
in
the
this division,
bang average
in this
championships.
division, that's enough to keep you up.
It's just a bog standard championship side. They know how to defend, they know how to attack when they need to attack, but I don't think it's enough.
It's like when I look at some of the other sides, like as mentioned, Edgery, I think we're pretty much all in agreement that they're not finishing bottom. Um, you've got Ross County, who may or may not turn it around. It's like they've got to turn it around eventually. They now have a squad of 29 players, having brought in 3 more players on loan. So they surely have to turn it around at some point, surely. But yeah, you've also got Queens Park as well, who don't look that great. And yeah, it's like if, as we say, it's like just keep average, well organised, just pick up these points where they can. They're going to be safe. I think they'll be happy with that. I think that's just what their minimum expectation would have been. But yeah, speaking of Queens Park, they were at home to St Johnstone. Now, Queens, they did come off their first win, finally, which came away at Ross County. St Johnstone, meanwhile, just looking to continue just ploughing through this league, to put it lightly. But yeah, Queens Park, they nearly got an opener in this one. They nearly took the lead. Toby Stewart was on the ball, but yeah, it's like you got caught out and trying to think. It's like he tried kicking it out and it hit off one of the Queens Park players. I didn't quite catch a name for it, but it just sort of ballooned over. But it's like that very easily could have gone into the net, which would have been interesting to see how it played out from that point forward. But it would be Kai Fotheringham who, after some good play from Jamie Gullen, he'd played Fotheringham through, and after 39 minutes, that was 1-0 St Johnstone. And I think for people not at the game, just seeing St Johnstone go 1-0 up, you're just thinking, okay, cool, this is it, this is going to be like 2-0, 3-0, whatever. But no, Queen's Park got an equaliser not long after. Josh Fowler, picking up the ball in the midfield, just went on a run. He shook off a couple of players, got himself into the box, and a pretty impressive finish into the bottom corner just before half time. It's like, and then in the second half, it's like both sides had plenty of chances in this one, but as we probably know by now, Josh McPeak at the death would manage to sneak one in from a fairly tight angle to once again see St Johnstone win. I don't think we're going to spend much time on St Johnstone because there's nothing new to say about them.
No.
But I think the big talking point when it comes to Queen's Park, Josh Fowler, is he has he been the most impactful signing in the championship?
No, certainly. I don't know. I don't think I've seen much of him, to be honest. I can't really comment on that. But obviously we played him on Tuesday night. We'll go into that game. But I mean, it was a really good goal. Went on a mazy run to put Queens Park into the league. But I certainly, if he keeps it up, it could be. They got Queens Park right back into the game, really, and I thought Queens Park actually deserved to kind of. They would have been disappointed to not at least pick up a point against St Johnstone. But the way they played, I thought they actually played fairly decent. They obviously had a bright start to the game, I felt, and but second half kind of felt a bit quiet as well. But I mean, if he keeps it up, and certainly if Queens Park are going to be at that kind of bottom end kind of part of the league, then it'll be players like him, as well as the other players I've got too. They'll be looking to kind of give him that spark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so he very much seems to be the focal point. The 7 goals that they scored this season, Fowler's scored 5 of them.
Yeah.
So, it's like if you try and think, if you probably take away his goals, then try and think they don't win at Ross County, definitely. I think, actually, I think he scored twice at Ross County last week. So, that would be 3 points off the board. And then, of course, there's other games that he would have scored in. It's like he's definitely like the game changer for them,
Mhm.
evidently. So, to have 5 goals in 8 games, well, 7 after this one, but it's pretty good going for him considering, as I was saying with Enzo about the Ross County game the week before. Um, yeah, so he's very much a guy who can fire a side just up at least 1 or 2 places just through sheer goal output. And if you're a side that's looking like they're going to be at the bottom end, that's the difference between Championship football next season or League One.
Definitely, aye. As you said, Callum, and just to confirm, he did score that brace away up at County for Queen's Park's win, and I certainly when he's getting 5 goals out of 7, as you said, um, if he keeps that up, that is the difference between getting relegated and staying up in the division, maybe even pushing yourself up for mid-table. But I certainly seems like a player that could give that could give a club that spark. You know what I mean? That injection of life into a team. You know what I mean? When certainly they might not have it. And when they're fighting down at the bottom of the league for points and that, he could easily win a game for your team. And I certainly so far very impactful signing for Queens Park. You know what I mean? Going by um, obviously his goal on Saturday and his goals at County last week up at Dingwall for Queens Park's win. But aye, it seems like a really good signing for them so far.
It's Yeah, it's definitely. I initially worded this for if Enzo was here, adding the question of if he's the best striker, but of course it's like we got Josh McVeigh on 7 goals and all that. But anyway, so moving on, we now go to Dunfermline. Now this is a good laugh for me. They were playing against Partick Thistle. Dunfermline coming off back-to-back defeats, and Thistle were beaten 4-0 by Celtic. I know we went in with so much hope, didn't we, Kieran?
Oh no, absolutely not, absolutely no chance. I was expecting to get beat, um, but I um, obviously coming off the back of humbling defeat, albeit unexpected. Comfortable win for Celtic, and obviously our exit for the League Cup quarterfinals. My worry was heading into the game away to Dunfermline, and it's quite a tricky place for us to go. Really, I think we won there last season and we drew 0-0 just in the kind of the backlog of games before we got to the playoffs, and um, I typically it's normally a tough place for Thistle to go. Um,
You could have
but
just said
I
that
we
about Fife in general at this rate, because you guys haven't won a good goalie for about 15
Kieran,
years.
I've also seen us lose in Methil, so um,
You
you
just
know
cursed.
I just cursed that I
West Coast versus East Coast, that's what it is.
exactly. But I was looking for us to start bright and early, get an early goal, so to speak, and 50 seconds in, oh boy, did Tony Watt do that. Um, Ocean Smith whips in a free kick into the penalty box, and the Dunfermline defence don't deal with it well at all. And it comes to Tony Watt, who finds himself with acres of space in the penalties box, who just I think it comes off a Dunfermline player, who tries to clear it, and Tony Watt's just there to slot it past the Dunfermline keeper to make it 1-0 50 seconds in. And you know you're not really probably could have asked for a better start than that, really. And then after a few chances here and there for both sides really, Thistle then find themselves 2-0 to the good 10 minutes in. We had a goal for Logan Chalmers. It was a beautiful swerving strike over the top of the Pars keeper. It was just out, I think it was like 25 yards out. And the Pars keeper had absolutely no chance. Just swerved over the top of him, right into the back of the net, and Thistle are 2-0 to the good. And with that, I thought, that obviously gives Dunfermline a bit of a mountain to climb, really, 2-0 down, 10 minutes in. And as a Thistle fan, especially, I'm thinking, fucking get in there, that's perfect start. 2-0 to the good, and um, I thought Dunfermline did put us, looking back at the highlights, obviously, I wasn't at the game Saturday. Because I wasn't well on Thursday and Friday, so I just decided to patch the game on Saturday. But looking at the highlights, I thought Dunfermline did put us under a bit of pressure, really, but they had like didn't create any real cut chances. They lacked a bit of cutting edge. Really, their shots were either going wide or their defence dealt with them well and cleared them away. And I'll go into a bit about how good their defence have been so far as well. Albeit obviously we shipped 4 against Celtic, but that is expected. It is Celtic you were talking about here. But I thought Dunfermline, attacking wise, they looked pretty poor. I thought. They were, as I said, they were putting us under pressure. They were putting balls into the box, but there wasn't any real clear cut chances created by them. And
It
then just
probably
before
also
half
didn't
time,
help. Yeah, I was just about to say, it probably also didn't help
no,
with Jefferson de Caceres, the
yes,
£1 billion man who went to Sheffield United like 6 months ago, like back in January or whatever. He's ended up in Dunfermline. What the fuck?
I just get sent
He was
off, didn't
very
he, man?
South
Look,
American.
aye,
If you, it was very South American. Like
absolutely,
he's getting his shirt pulled.
aye,
Like it's like fair enough. That's got to annoy
aye,
you. But he just turns around and just clatters the
aye.
festival.
Clattered. It was O'Reilly. Pretty much stuck the head on him. More or less. And I was listening to the audio commentary, and at first, the people that were doing the Jags Zone commentary, Michael Max and I think it was Chris Dobie, on the commentary, they were at first being like, "Ah, that's a bit harsh, really. Don't know why the referee's giving that." And then they looked at the highlights from the actual for the camera that's at the other end of the other end of the camera, and they were like, "Aye, that is a stone wall." And they were also wondering what Neil Lennon's thoughts were going to be on it, saying I don't think he'll probably agree with it and all that typical Neil Lennon. But Neil Lennon came out and pretty much slammed Cáceres for headbutting O'Reilly. Really, he came out and basically said that. I think it was like he was disappointed in him and we're going to deal with that in house, something like that. So when Neil Lennon's even agreeing that your player should be sent off, I mean something's certainly wrong there, But that pretty much just, I mean, it's probably and there's not a good time to get sent off, but just before half time, you're 2-0 down, and he does that, and it just killed any real chance for Pars to get back into the game, and pretty much it was all Thistle by that point. I think we probably could have had more than 2 goals, Fitzpatrick and Sosa had chances to extend the lead in the second half, but I thought, other than that, I thought it was a pretty comfortable result, a comfortable win for us, really. We had a couple of penalty shouts, but again, I don't really want to focus on too much about that. I think Aiden's kind of spoke about our frustrations on referees, especially in this division. And but I'll say that the first one did look like it should have been. Paddy Redden was bundled over in the box, and it was probably should have been a penalty. But I think the referee's seeing it as like he sent off Dunfermline. He does want to piss or support half anywhere. The referee giving Thistle a penalty, probably even two. When we had because we had the two penalty shouts. But I think if we didn't lose that game, I think I'd be a bit more focusing on that, saying why did we not get any penalty shouts, but or why did we not get any penalties? But I know certainly, really good result all round, fantastic performance by the team. I felt by front from front to back really, but in particular, I thought Ocean Smith. Going by the highlights, and obviously, but people are saying on Twitter and that as well. By all accounts, he absolutely strolled it, completely controlled the game in Saturday, and I thought he looked tidy when he come on. I think he came on against Celtic, and I thought he looked tidy, and as well as I think he might have come on home Airdrie, I think as well. And again, I thought he looked tidy, but he was getting rave reviews on Twitter by Thistle fans saying how good he was. And I messaged Sam in the big chat as well, and he said, I think he's really good, perhaps too good for the championship." So it looks like we've got a real player there, really good signing for us. And that's just to speak about Dunfermline, but a bit that's back to losing ways now. Obviously, they lost to Ayr United at East End Park, and then obviously we've beaten them on Saturday, and I don't think they threatened really much. From what I saw, either shots were just going wide, or our defence were dealing with it well. They were either getting blocked or shots or whatever. But I don't think. I think Dunfermline. I think their main issue is consistency. Really, like they could go on a run of 2 or 3 games and they're slinging 5 past Arbroath, and then they'll go to home Ayr and lose to Ayr, and then get beat against us, and or get beat by us, I should say. And aye, I, I think that's a difference 100%. And getting playoffs and being mid-table again. Possibly even find yourself in a basement battle down the end of the league, and they were certainly in for shouts. For relegation shouts last season. So aye,
It'll be
but
so funny.
that's aye. Don't want to get you excited too much, Callum, but
If you get me any more
Saturday's.
excited, I don't think we'll be able to put this podcast out.
You'll be still in the pub. But aye, Saturday's result,
You were
mate.
saying about consistency being one of the main
Aye,
issues. I mean, it's 3 losses in a row, which I guess you could say
yeah,
is consistency. But it's 2 games in a row now that they've had a player sent off. They had Chilcot Mullen sent
yeah.
off against Ayr, although it's like looking at that one, it's a weird one. It's like I still don't know why he got sent off.
Aye.
I can't remember if it was 2 bookings or not, but yeah. So if trying to think, if it's 2 bookings, it's only the 1 game you miss, isn't it? I think it is if it's the first one
Yes, I
now.
think so.
Yeah. So, but it's like with Caceres, that being a straight red and the manner of it, like violent
Aye,
conduct. I think that's 3 games he's going to get suspended for.
aye, definitely. I think
That,
that's what it
like,
is. 3 games.
I,
Aye.
I think 3 games at a minimum, but yeah, it's definitely it's like it's like the little we're doing so well to start the season. I think as it's over. Yeah, I think that I do have. It's like you were saying about how it's like they're going back to mid-table. Whatever. I do
Aye.
have written down here in my notes. I don't feel the curse to mid-table mediocrity because it's like they have like it's like they had this summer where they it's like they just tried chucking money at people,
Aye.
and granted they got a few players. They got Zach Rodden for 110,000 supposedly. 6 figures for him. Whoa. And it's like Caceres and all this sort of stuff, and they're just still Dunfermline.
I certainly thought after their win away to Arbroath, obviously naturally after a 5-0 win, you're going to think you're going to get your season well underway, and they've just kind of again it's just far too inconsistent. For years now, I feel that's been They're a shoe really. Aye, it's been pretty piss poor, but the result for us, the win for us on Saturday, meant for the first time since April 2021, we've won four in a row in the league, which is really good going. I think we're in pretty good form so far. Don't want to get ahead of myself far too much, really. But I would just need to keep up the consistency. Um, you know, keep picking up wins, and who knows what can happen. You know what I mean? It's just all about keeping momentum, really. You know what I mean? Just taking every game as when it comes. You know. Um, but I think so far things are looking pretty good. Obviously, the start before the season, I had my doubts, and I thought we kind of struggled this season, and again we opening game in the league we get dicked 5-1. But um, other than that, you know what I mean, and we drew 1-1 to Morton, but at home. But since
Everyone's
then I
drawn
think
a Morton.
we've been
Wow, I
pretty
say
good.
everyone's drawn a Morton.
Yes, aye. Uh, um, but I mean, definitely we'll take that. You know what I mean, especially considering how kind of worried we were heading into this season. So definitely take well being before Tuesday night's result. We'll obviously go into that game as well, but I will definitely take from Saturday. I think we were third. I think we were third before we went into the game on
I,
Tuesday night. Third, a point behind.
I
So
third point
um,
behind, 2 games in hand,
aye, so
which
aye,
which
pretty
on
good.
Tuesday night you very much turned into a 2 point lead.
Yes, definitely. Again, started the match bright and early again. Away to Queens Park. I thought heading into the game, I thought that the whole kind of stadium, how kind of small it is and compact the stadium is. I thought that would kind of hinder us a wee bit, and Queens Park would perhaps use that to their advantage. And I, I was kind of, I wouldn't say I was worried, but I thought we'd kind of struggle, so to speak.
As we're talking about the stadium, I just want to
Aye,
say shout out to that Queens Park fan who has been doing for like every single and like the last few games this season about how it's like, oh, how terrible for the away the away team. Like I think he did at the first one I
is
noticed
that
was putting
only
up there. He did it for
250
Party
tickets
Thistle as
sold or something?
well last night about how it's like they only brought 250 away fans, and it's like the amount of bites that he's been getting,
Aye,
phenomenal.
aye,
I love it.
aye. I have noticed that on Twitter as well. But good on him, I suppose. Well done. Getting the bites on Twitter. You didn't get your 3 points on Tuesday night though, did you? So, um, but again, Tony Watt. That's 2 goals and two now for him, and put us 1-0 up 7 minutes in. And again, it's just we're starting the games really well early on. They're taking their leads early on. I think that's the key. Um, I don't think this season we've went into games with it being 0-0. I think there's been a goal for I don't think it's been 0-0 heading into half time. Sorry. I think Airdrie we went in 1-0 down half time, and I
Aye,
think
I think that might be the only one you've not scored in the first half this season.
yeah,
Because the
I
game against us, he's were 2-0 up in 15 minutes.
I 2-0 at 15 minutes. It was brought back to 2-2. You brought it back to 2-2.
Aye.
Airdrie were one. I
Entertaining.
think Airdrie were 1-0 up, but aye. And I think Morton won 1-0 up as well. I think going into half time, when they drew with us 1-1.
Oh, that's
Um,
what it was, aye.
aye, but I mean, we're starting games early. We're starting games really bright early on and getting our goals early on. I think that's the key, really. I think it settles our team down, settles everyone down. But Mark Wilson's also shown that if we're losing games or we're struggling in games or whatever, he can change it up. He can make the right subs and he can bring players on that can change games, um, that can run into games, get us the results, and so I think that's really good to have that balance as well. Um, but Enzo said last night was the poorest Queen's Park have been all season, really, and I think it's hard to disagree. I don't think Queen's Park were good at all, really. I think another team on their day, and I don't know again if it's due to the pitch, the stadium, that might make it harder for teams to go out and completely hammer them. But I think another team on their day maybe puts 3 or 4 past them last night. I think I think we even had chances to. I think Enzo disagreed with me, saying it could have been about 3 goals to Thistle, maybe more, but we had our chances to certainly extend the lead in the second half, and Queen's Park again just didn't threaten at all. They looked a bit toothless up front, and considering how Josh Fowler's started the season and got his goals, because I think we kind of dealt with him pretty well last night, to be honest. Um, but I've got to say a massive shout out to Ben McPherson. I think he's been fantastic so far, and I dread the day Celtic call him back on loan, because I think he's been fantastic so far. Both ends of the pitch on Tuesday night, it was superb. I think he started his life at Thistle really well, and long way to continue for him. And I struggle to see where Cammy Logan comes back into the squad, really, to be honest. I think he's done really well. I think potentially should, if he did get man of the match Tuesday night, I'm not entirely sure who get man of the match Tuesday night. But it should have been him. But also be shout out Ocean Smith as well, who again was excellent on Tuesday night as well. But as I was saying, didn't like Queen's Park didn't threaten much at all, and we certainly had chances to properly get it off. But very comfortable win for us, I would say. Probably the most comfortable 1-0 win we had. Queen's Park never had the ball. They were putting it in the box, and it was just we were dealing with it well. And Josh Clark was, claiming the ball and that, whatever, was came and got the ball for the crosses and that. But the referee again, I think Enzo, this is coming more from Enzo than me, so to speak. But he said the referee for both teams were absolutely mince, and again, got to agree. We should have had a penalty. I think it was Alex Samuel got tugged in in the box. His shirt got tugged in the box, and we definitely should have had a penalty. And Grant Savoury should have been sent off as well for Queen's Park. But as well as that, we did get a few niggly decisions in our favour, so swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But I don't think we'll rant about referees anymore. I think Aiden's covered that for us, and I think we all pretty much agree with everything he said. I think the referees in this division are a joke, to be honest. But the less said about them, the better. But after that result, puts us in second place. And that's now 5 wins in a row for us, and for the third time in history, Thistle have 10 wins by September. 10 competitive wins, I should say, by September, and in 2 previous instances, titles are won. So in the 2012-13 season and the 1975-76 season. So remember, I said I don't want to get ahead of myself here, Callum, and take it a game at a time. But I'm already booking the open bus, the open top bus. The chase is on, Cal. But nah. We've just got to take it, a step at a time, a game at a time in this league, as well as we're doing. A couple of losses, a couple of drop points, and we're, mid-table again, or we're, a couple of losses here and there, and we're starting to stare down the league. So we're doing well at the moment, really well, exceeding my expectations certainly for the league, but well, for this season, I should say. But just kind of need to, as I said, take it a game at a time.
I was going to say, is just like, aside from that defeat at St Johnstone, I've been quite impressed with Thistle, even in the game where it was 3-2 at Hill between the two of us. I thought both teams played quite well, and it does beg the question. It's like normally I would say something along the lines of, "Is there a title charge or whatever here?" But it's like St Johnson is just fucking off. Like
Yeah.
no one's catching them. So second place for Thistle. Do we see it happening?
I think we've got every right to think we've got a chance, but as I said, it's all about consistency. I've seen Thistle far too many times where we start seasons well and we end up in fourth and fucking losing it in the quarter final or the playoffs or the playoff semi-finals or whatever. Um, so it's just all about consistency really. In the league, I would love to finish second. I mean, I think I put us third, but really, realistically, I thought we were going to be mid-table this season. I thought it would be right, not so much down the bottom. I think we'd be all. I thought we were going to be all right, so to speak. But I thought there were certainly feelings of us not making the playoffs amongst the support. People saying we were finishing sixth and fifth and stuff like that. So to be second in September, albeit it is still very tight in the playoffs, and still anything can happen. We're only at the start of October here. I mean, there's still a lot of football to get played. But we've got every right to be confident, especially how we've, bounced back for that hum- humbling defeat opening game of the season away to McDermott, away to St Johnson. So, I certainly we'll absolutely take the position we're in, and we've got every right to be confident. But it's all about keep momentum and being consistent in the league and one daft point dropped, one silly loss, and everything's back up in the air. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, but I don't think there is a title race as of yet. Just to answer your question there as well. But I mean, same as that, I don't see it at the moment. St Johnson losing too many games, losing too many points. But again, it's a freaky league. You know, anything can happen. So I wouldn't rule that out either. But I think we've got to be realistic here, especially the position that St Johnson find himself in. But I think we'll be all right, and I think we will probably. I mean, famous last words. I think we'll be all right for playoffs at least, and certainly, if we keep things going, I'd certainly take finishing second, maybe third. But we're doing fantastic at the moment, and we've just got to keep it going.
It's like you still have a game in hand as well, and that's against Ayr, who you've
Yeah,
already
here at
beaten
home in
twice
October.
this season.
So we played them once. We played them in the League Cup.
Yeah, I was going to
Haven't
say you
played
played
them
them
in
in the League
the.
Cup. I wasn't sure if you had played them in the league
We
already.
hadn't played them in the league yet, Callum, but I.
So that's what your game in hand would be. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just sort of like we're getting to like game week 9. It's at that point where it's like you played everyone once, but of course you've got the game in hand has been pushed back to whatever. So
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure if you had played against them or not.
No.
But yeah, it is looking good for Thistle, especially when we considered that first first match day, and also that game against Morton where he's were arguably a bit lucky to get a point in that one. It's like you could have very easily been two defeats from two, I think,
Definitely.
and here you are sitting second with a game in hand.
Definitely. But again, as I said, we've just got to be realistic about things too. We can't get too ahead of ourselves. We've made a mistake of doing that. So many times we've been doing well, and fair enough. We should be confident we are doing well and singing our praises, but I think at the same time, we just kind of get ahead of ourselves. We've done it too many times in the league, and it's ended up, being a hindrance to us. So, but definitely we'll take the position we're in right now. Absolutely.
I suppose that's just about everything we have to talk about this week. So, as we are talking about the table right now, we might as well go through it. So, of course, St Johnston, top of the league, 22 points out of a possible 24. Just get them promoted. I can't be arsed. Partick Thistle, with their game in hand, sit on 16 points in second. Reef are now by themselves, but in third now, thanks to Thistle jumping above us. We're on 14 points, 3 points clear of our Grove, who dropped down to fourth following this week's fixtures. They're on 11 points. Ayr, with their game in hand, as mentioned, against Thistle later on at some point in the season. They're now set on 10 points, as mentioned, very much back into the playoff race. They've also jumped above Dunfermline, who are down in 6th on 8 points. And Morton, 7 points from 7 draws in 8 games. It's never changing for them. Then it's 8th, Queen's Park. They're also on 7 points, but with a -3 goal difference. But, at least they won a game. Then it's Ross County on 4 points. And Airdrie on 3. Just very sad for them. But of course, looking forward to this weekend's fixtures, we have got Airdrie against Greenock Morton, which, as mentioned when Aiden was here, is very much one where it's like Greenock, it's like Morton have got to win that one. Like that has to be the one they finally get a win. Ross County, they're at home to Rafe Rovers. I will be making the trip up to Dingwall, so that's going to be a right laugh. I'm pretty confident about this one, which means we're going to get pumped like 3-0 or something like that. And
Famous last words.
And it's like I've wasted like 60 quid at a minimum for no reason. Dunfermline, they're at home to Queen's Park, where they'll be looking to get some form back, or maybe Queen's Park can get another away win. Because I believe Enzo put in the chat, I think, as of the day of recording, I think it's now 270 days since Queen's Park last won at home. So, it's like we've got to keep the win days counter going in some sort of format. I think it was at like 202 days was the last win before they beat Ross County. So, Ross County therefore would be on like 213, 214, something like that. Maths is not my strong point. But Partick Thistle, you are at home to Arbroath. You looking forward to that one?
Aye, certainly. I think we've got every right to fancy ourselves at home. Arbroath, I think we've kind of touched on it. Aye, they had a decent start to the league, and I think they'll be all right this season. But if Dunfermline are slinging 5 past them at Gayfield, then I'm not saying we're going to sling 5 past them because anything can happen in this league. MD can beat MD in this league, but certainly with how we're playing, I would like to think we beat them. Not saying we'll go out and pump them by any means, but again, just keeping up the wins, keeping up the good form we're in, I'll be happy with that.
Yes, and the final game is St Johnstone against Ayr. We have no midweek fixtures. We don't have any Friday fixtures. Everything is all nice and simple. With all that, then, I guess it is time to say goodbye. Aiden has said goodbye a while ago because his Wi-Fi has died. But yeah, it was. Hope you enjoyed this one, and if any Malaysians are watching, then please come back and we'll talk a lot more about Richard Shen. So yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Catch you after.